Hey there, my name is Green Pixels and I am developing a monster collecting game in a virtual world setting called ComCreatures. You can pet and feed your creatures, but also make them stronger by leveling through combat or merging them with other ones to get a ComCreature that's even mightier. In this video we are going to talk about how I tried to come up with my own turn-based combat concept, which proved to be really difficult and hard to balance. In my recent devlog, I talked about what has already been done and how I, for example, implemented abilities into the game. If you haven't seen the last devlog yet, I recommend just clicking the pop-up in the upper right corner of your screen and take a look for yourself. Let's start by looking at what has changed since the last devlog. My Trello board tasks are growing day by day, and sadly for the sake of these videos, most of them aren't very visual. For example, I took some days and a broom to clean up my whole code base, which was really messy. For some people, this still might look messy, and those some people might be right.
Whoa, it does the same thing, but more effectively.
Another thing that the game was lacking was a good grasp of what stats your ComCreature has. I did have an info text box that you could open, telling you all kinds of different things. But the problem is, the more stats a creature has, and I don't know, maybe at some point I want to add magic attack, magic defense and all kinds of other things, the longer the text box would eventually get. So I worked on an inspect screen that shows you all stats of your ComCreature and how they are put together. I think it's much simpler to use and makes it really easy to compare your creatures with little to no effort. I also fixed a really annoying visual bug in which my list would render items in the wrong position, just the first frame. It was that teeny weeny bit too annoying for me, so I had to get rid of it, despite it not having any major impact on the gameplay. Now, off to the combat. Let me tell you what my ideas were for this project. I narrowed it down to 3 concepts. First, an auto-combat system like idle games have. Clicker heroes, Dragon Cliff, no-brain heroes and such come to mind. These games automatically take action every X seconds, and in between you can change some things up, like choosing an ability to cast, guarding, fleeing, speeding the game up and so on. The problem here is that these games tend to a really niche player base, since it's a game that you don't actively play but passively manage. Even though I personally like the concept and the type of game, I didn't really feel like this is the way I want to go with ComCreatures, so I decided against it. Second concept. This is pretty face-on, but a combat system as in Pokemon. It's not a novel concept, especially not for monster collecting games, and it has been done multiple times. But that's with reason, it works. But there are some things that always annoyed me with Pokemon. If you don't play Pokemon in any competitive way or using any challenge, chances were you overleveled and had a really strong ability and one-shot most of your enemies using it. And the only trade-off really was losing power points, as in how many users were left. Don't get me wrong, I love Pokemon. Obviously, otherwise I probably wouldn't be making this right now. But I wanted to try something different, which brings me to concept number 3. Both parties choose an attack. Only the attack with the higher speed value actually hits. Attacks with more speed cost more stamina. Winning or losing is decided by whether stamina or happiness hits 0. There are attacks that drain the enemy's stamina instead of their happiness. There are also attacks that have temporary effects like increasing or decreasing the speed value. I made sprite mockups of what the combat could look like, crafted the actual sprites and implemented them. I am still unsure if this system feels boring, doesn't work, or is unbalanced, and I'm currently trying it out. There are still some edge cases to consider, like both parties having the same speed value, in which case, currently, the attacker is random, or defeating an enemy but hitting 0 stamina at the same time. I'll be testing the system out, playing around with it for some time, and ultimately come to a decision if I'll scratch it or if it's a keeper. For my next devlog, I want to polish the visuals for the combat up. As you can see, it's really bland, doesn't have any effects nor any background, making it miss any kind of impact and weight. I'll add skill effects, add screen shake, have the characters do move animations and make a proper background. If this game interests you and you want to help me out, please share this video around, visit me on my socials and hit the like button wherever you can. It may be some seconds for you, but can eventually be a deciding factor for this project. This is it for this devlog. Tune in next time and see you soon.